Everyone, welcome back. I'm Dr. Makowski. How are you? Okay, so this case is an active murder case. It's an open case. It's still active. I've already sent a report off to the police department on this case too. The reason I did this is because it was so close to home. It was here in Michigan, Macomb County. So I'm not going to give too much away because it is an open case. But this case was, as soon as this happened and it kind of hit the news, I immediately made sure I tried to connect. I did connect, but with the lady, with Jennifer. I haven't heard anything back regards to the outcome of this case. It doesn't seem, and it was a sad one as well because it's during the lockdown, you know, COVID last year. But it's funny because back then, well, it's not funny. When I say funny, I don't mean like that. It's just strange that back then, when it didn't get a lot of the major attention because of COVID. But even though there was no real, I remember there was no real description of the perpetrator, you know, there was no real information coming out from the of the perpetrators. I didn't see any CCTV footage for, weeks after I even sent the report on and everything. Yeah, I was able to describe the person involved in this. And it's funny because when I was looking at the CCTV footage later, what the media put out there, it looks very similar to what I already described. Very similar. But there was a lot going on in this case that it was like a random case for me. There was a little bit more, but again, I don't, because it's active, I don't really want to go too much into it. But I'm always eager to try and keep looking to see if there's any new developments on this case. And it's just sad all around, regardless. It's just a sad case, and you know, it should never have happened. Get these people off the streets. These people are just vile, evil, disgusting people. Don't care. And it's just, there's too many of these people around these days. There's just too many evil people committing evil acts. It's just really, really sad. And when it kind of happens on your doorstep and it's very close to home, you could be a victim so easily like that. So it just, for me though, it's almost like when she was showing me what was actually happening, it was a really horrible scenario to see how it all went down. And it's like, not everything is as it seems, you know. But like I say, I already distributed this report off. Obviously there's just nothing in the report that is significant enough. If there is, keeping it very quiet, I understand why that would be, because you know, you don't want the fact that they haven't even found this person yet, and I haven't even heard anything or seen anything. But somebody knows this person. It's not hard. There's just no way, you know. Anyway, so if I do, I'm always trying to see if there's any new developments on this case. But if I do come across any developments in this case, I will absolutely update you guys and gals on it, because I want her to get justice. I want her family to get justice. It's disgusting. So, and again, like I say, with these cases, because the ones that were taken down, you know, last year, just ignore the video links, etc. But any active cases like this, you've got to verify who you are. You've got to be working on the case. There's just these are not going out to the public. And to be honest, even though I'm writing the books on these cold cases, etc., I can't even put these cases in my, in my book until something's, whether there's been a closing of the case or developments, because there's just there's information in there that could help or turn the case around. Clearly in this case, what I clearly saw or documented was not relevant, obviously. And like I say, if there is relevance in it, they're keeping it to themselves, and that's okay. I understand why, but other than that, I want this case to close. There's no reason why you can't close this case. There's no reason. You've got a visual of the person of interest. You've got, it's not fucking hard, right? And somebody knows this person. So something's going on. Something's not right, put it that way, as far as I'm concerned. My intuition tells me something's not right about this case anyway. And even what I was seeing, something wasn't right about it. But there's maybe a reason why they're just keeping a bit quiet about it. And I get it. But again, there's still no reason why you can't catch this guy. Other than that, I will speak to you all soon. Stay safe. Hello, and I'm Dr. Karen Makowski, also the leading paranormal investigator on case CCMP08. Okay. Okay, this is a strange case. Then this is the second sort of case I've come across now where, you know, it could have been registered and classed as this one specifically as possible suicide, so it may not be investigated. However, I did a case recently regards to a case that could have been classed as an accidental death back in Massachusetts, but there is a video for that one. Again, you know, I get really sad when I come across these sort of cases, because there's definitely not so much unrest, but more sadness on that side. And I always feel like I really want to help these ones because they haven't been, well, you wouldn't even know there was a case involved. That's what's really sad about this one, but the victims always come through. Now this one again, this one is in Colorado State back in 1982. Now I've got to be careful again how much information I sort of expose here, because like I said, this could be a possible cold case, but it you know, again, it was classed as a suicide, so it may be worth looking into again. It involved a son, a father and a son. The son was between 4 and 5 years old, and the father was like late 30s. It looked like it was set up as a suicide involving, you know, inside a garage. Looks like small inhalation from the car. Okay, so that's how it came across. That's what I was visually seeing. And this one was done, you know, via remote viewing too, which was great. I get a lot more data when I sort of do the remote viewing side of it. But again, it was, I got a registration plate and everything. I've got a description of multiple perpetrators. Also, you know, a motive and extra information that would definitely be relevant should this case be looked at again and reopened. Again, you know, when we're dealing with the deceased, they come through for a reason. So something's wrong, something's not settled, something, they're not at peace. Again, this is not towards people who don't believe or understand any of this. It's nothing to do with you or that. It's for, you know, this is what I do. This is what I'm really passionate about. Again, I don't always like to see, you know, that sort of thing. I don't really like to see how people are killed, basically. But at the same time, I don't have a problem helping the deceased either, because again, I don't really do this for the public. I do this more for law enforcement. So again, rather than, I don't really want, I'm really careful how much I give away, and sometimes it sounds like I'm being vague, but again, I'm just going to stick with Colorado State, 1982. Like I said, I do have descriptions and etc. You know, all sorts of stuff. And and I don't want to give that away because that could be incredibly important. However, there was huge significance to yellow ribbons. So maybe that's got something to do with the child, or how this father and son were remembered. It was all to do with the yellow ribbons. I don't really know what the connection is with the yellow ribbons, but very apparent. And you know, obviously some relevance there. Lots of other details about how and what was happening during this, the scenario, I have to call it. But again, yes, this looks like it was classed as a suicide, and that's not the case at all. So, like I say, I'm going to put this out there if you want to spread this, or if you come across this video and you want to sort of just, I don't know, maybe let law enforcement in Colorado State know. I don't have a specific area in Colorado, unfortunately, so we could either go via, you know, the state, you know, the FBI for Colorado State, or possibly state police. But again, because it doesn't look like it was an active case of any kind, so it's hard to know who to send this to. That's the reason why I'm putting it out here. So if anybody in law enforcement does request a copy of this report, you know, absolutely, just you can go to my, you know, website, sorry, and you can, there's ways of contacting me. Submit a request. I'm going to have to make sure you're who you say you are. Verify. I don't send these reports out to the public whatsoever. Other than that, let's just, you know, my job's done. This is it for me. I do my investigation the way I do, which is not normal. It's paranormal. However, because of my human abilities, etc., I feel like I've done my part. So now I put that out there. My job is done. Now it's just entirely up to anybody else that is concerned with this. So, I will say one thing about this case, because it was back in the 80s, this would never ever have happened in today's day and age. No way. Surveillance alone and technology advancements on, you know, just alone, it would never happen. But back then, I came out of it thinking, wow, that is quite literally like the perfect murder. But sleeping dogs never lie. You know, one thing I will say about the deceased, no, it doesn't stay, it doesn't work like that. It's the beautiful thing about the universal laws. And, you know, it's not possible to keep a secret for too long. So that's all I'm going to say about that. And I do hope something comes of this one, because, like I say, it just, I didn't like that one. It's a shame, and you know, there's no peace here right now, because for the son or the man or the little boy. So other than that, if anything comes of it, and obviously if I do get feedback from any of the police departments, etc., for any cases I work on, I will absolutely just let you know. Touch base with them. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Karen Makowski. How are you? So I'm trying to grab my coffee. It's one of those days. Oh la la, needed that. Okay, so today I'm going to be briefly discussing case CCMP11. So this is a cold case. It was okay, let me just go to the, because I did actually manage to get a sketch of my drawing is absolutely terrible, but I'd rather be sketching something rather than nothing. So I did connect with a young red-headed teenager. She's around about 17 years old, by the name, and I heard the name Amelia. So when I sort of ask for names or locations, etc., and then I hear, like that, my clairaudience kicks in. Whatever I hear is what I write down. It could be relevant, or it could be irrelevant, or it could be regards to something else. But there's words and information does come through. So I am all about the data. I just want to make sure I document everything. So, and I have to just assume it resonates with the cases, but you know, I think because when I'm sort of connecting, especially when doing remote viewing, I focus purely on who comes through. But there is a lot on that side. There's a lot on that plane that, you know, unfortunately, that need assistance. So, so I do try my hardest to just focus purely on a specific energy that's connected. So, and then I did ask for the location, and I did hear Montana. And I remember in the visual, when I connected, I was in what looked like, I was definitely in forest terrain, and it was probably winter because it was just snow everywhere. And I remember sort of, I mean, I could feel it was cold too, and I'm not really a fan of snow, unfortunately. I like to look at it, it's really pretty. I just don't like to be in it. I am a sunshine type of woman. I don't like cold, but I remember like, oh, you know, I just don't like cold. So I knew it was cold. So I've got to focus more on the winter period. Now, that season could be relevant because this could be when this young lady went missing. And then, like I say, I did see what looked like a log cabin, but the strange thing was about, well, it's not strange, it's just what really caught my eye, and I focus on these as details, is there was a wheelchair ramp sort of built into the front patio, you know, like the porch, but there was a sketch of it, but so there was a wheelchair ramp. Now, the cabin definitely was definitely part of it, because I saw this lady, this young girl, going in willingly with this man because she was smiling. Again, this goes into, you know, I do put my sort of summary because I have to go on what I'm feeling too. I didn't sense fear from her, so she definitely knew him. There was an affair, unfortunately, and then what I was hearing, I mean, I have got how she was met. Well, yeah, she was murdered, but how she passed away, I got the weapon, etc. So there's all of that information. I'm not going to go into that. Could be relevant. And you know, when I'm always asking for names, especially of the perpetrator, I got a name. I'm not going to read that out. And I did hear teacher. And then I heard affair, and I'm like, oh God, one of those, you know, that's not unusual, is it? But, you know, this happens. So, and then that told me, okay, that explains why she wasn't in fear. She went willingly, and probably because if they was having an affair, obviously. But that's where she was, you know, she was murdered in this cabin, and I don't feel like she's far from it. So she was. I feel like her remains are close by. What else did I pick up on this? I did hear I did hear bloodhounds. That's it, bloodhounds. When I hear something like that, I'm assuming there was a search, but just nothing. Because I get that in a few cold cases too. Like there was, I usually get told if there was a search and it was unsuccessful, or like sort of sniffer dogs, etc. But I did hear bloodhounds. I don't know if that's that could be relevant. So it would intrigue me if a 17-year-old girl went missing in Montana somewhere, small town maybe. This is in 1997, okay. So the strange thing was, and I am going to sort of mention this. I'm not going to give away exactly what sport I think she was playing, but there was definitely a sport uniform. No, not a cheerleader, but there was definitely a sport uniform, and that's what I saw her wearing. And I thought, and so what that sort of told me was, oh, okay, maybe this is either she was about to go to a game, or maybe finish the game. So this little things like that just sort of stood out to me. Environmental data is there too. That's part of the paranormal investigation. So let me just see if there's anything else I can. Okay, so yeah, I'll tell you what really came through strong with this one as well. As I was sort of stood, looking at this cabin, you know, stood in snow, and you know, I heard very loud, "Shut the gate." I'm like, "What fucking gate?" So, and what that did was, when I heard it so loud, it made me look around for a gate. But I'm like, well, I don't see a gate. So that could be relevant too. But that came through so loud and so strong. Like, I don't know, like I was being told off, or obviously I was told to, you know, shut the gate, but just like that, shut the gate. I'm like, there's no fucking gate. So, I think that's pretty much all I can, you know, there is, if anybody knows of something like this or something similar, remember, even though I'm asking for locations and I do get locations, it could be somewhere completely different. It's just, I have to take what comes through. So if you've heard of a young girl around 17, schoolgirl, definitely a schoolgirl, definitely in a sports team with the school, and she went missing in 1997, and she's got long red hair. Please, absolutely, if there's a case like that of a missing girl, have somebody from the, I don't know, maybe police department or somebody just reach out to me, and I'll forward the report on. There could be something else in the report that they just you know, they maybe even had a person of interest, but again, sometimes in certain states, I know they still need a body, and unless they've got absolute major evidence, but it's still hard. So, or they may just need to reevaluate the area where the bloodhounds were. But anyway, I'm just going to leave that there. So that is case CCMP 11. Other than that, I will speak to you all soon. Good evening, everybody. I'm Dr. Karen Makowski. I'm the leading paranormal investigator on any of my cases. So tonight I'm going to discuss a case regards to a missing woman who is, it's definitely a cold case, she's deceased. This is case CCMP 12. Now, once I made the connection, it was almost like she was showing me her last call. She did say she was a call girl, well-paid call girl too. And then she was showing me her last call, but what happened to her. It was hard to get a location or even when this happened, but she did show, I was shown a photograph of two young boys. I believe they are her children, and they were under the ages, they looked like they were under 4 years old. So it's almost like she went to do her job like she normally does and just didn't come home. So now we've got two little boys looking for, you know, wondering where their mother is. But she's classed as a missing person. It's hard to know where this one is, but she was showing me, like I say, her last call. I did get a description of the man who murdered her, killed her. I'm not going to say too much. There was another man involved, but he just sort of sat in the corner smoking cigarettes and watching, just as guilty. These people, okay, so these type of men, first of all, they've got money, they're powerful, they're well known, and they will get away with it. These are the type of men that get away with murder. It's as simple as that. Let's not sugarcoat the truth and the reality. This is a seedy world anyway. It's a seedy world. It's a dangerous world for women who are prostitutes. It's just the way it is. That's not going to change. It's the oldest trade in the book, but it's still the most dangerous. And it's almost like she was making a point to, she made it feel like she was trying to say to all women, you know, if you want to get into this trade, just because you paid the big bucks doesn't mean you're safe. You're not safer than just because you're associating yourself with like men in politics, rich men, well-known men. You're no safer with them than you are any other John, I guess. It's a seedy world, it's a dangerous world, and this was the end. This was their ending. You know, she wasn't expecting that. But you know, no woman. It doesn't even matter what you do. No woman deserves this. This is never going to change. while men are still paying for sex, that's never going to change anyway. But this behaviour, this level of power and the evil that men do to women, it's never going to change. So I guess her message is just be very careful, because it's almost like she kept saying, this is my last call. It's really, really sad. I did hear a word of the man who was watching. I was made aware of what he does for a living, but I'm not going to state that right now. But and I got a good description of the room, the bedroom that she was taken into, and where she met her death, basically. I don't really want to. No, I don't want to say too much. This report is going to be archived, obviously, because I didn't get a location. I didn't even get, you know, an indication of when it was. It didn't seem like it was that long ago. I feel like somewhere there's a young woman in her late 20s, early 30s, possibly, who has 2 sons under the age of 4. Back maybe then, or when she went missing. Who went missing? Hasn't this is? I mean, she was pretty young. She had, like, you know, long. I didn't get a name, unfortunately. Long, mousy, curly hair, mousy, blondie, curly hair. I wasn't close enough to a visual of her to get her eye colour or anything like that, but she was dressed well. I mean, she was a call girl. She was a well-paid call girl. Like, it was like a secret life. She did live a secret life. Maybe her close friends knew what she did, and maybe even her family members, but that's what she did. But yeah, it's really sad. So I guess I'm just going to end that one there. There's really not much more I can do with this one apart from archive it. But if there is, you know, if there is a woman that went missing, unfortunately, it's not a good ending. So I have no idea where she was taken, where her body was disposed, or anything, excuse me, or anything like that. These type of men have vile other people doing dirty work like that for them. But it was like she was disposed like trash. So I just don't know where you would find her remains. But yeah, so I guess just be careful, you know, if you're doing this, if you're in this industry, be careful. It doesn't matter if you're having sex for money with rich men, with billionaires, millionaires, doesn't matter, with big boats, etc. They're no less dangerous. They get away with murder. Not all of them, not all like that. It's just, you know, you're going to come across the evil amongst them, and there is many like that. So just I guess that's her last message really to women like her. Be very careful. And in the big books, doesn't make you you're not safe. So it's a risky business. It's a risky, especially just lately. So I just say be careful. But other than that, I'm just going to leave that there. Yeah, again, I'm just going to archive this one. So just stay safe, and I will speak to you all soon. Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Karen Makowski. I'm the leading paranormal investigator on any of my investigations, i.e. cold cases, etc. So today I want to discuss a case I was just... for me, it looks like it could be an open case. Active investigation. First, I'm going to discuss it anyway. It's quite brief. It came through quite... wasn't much to go on, but I will always try and grab what I can. So... this is case CCMP, I believe it is 13, CCMP 13. So basically, what I was seeing was, it was like a video visual. So I was sort of seeing, the first thing I saw was a motorcycle. And it's strange because the motorcycle was actually parked. It was sort of stood up 1 second, and then in the next video visual I saw the motorcyclist, a man, at a stop sign on what looks like could be a slightly busy residential street, but it had stop signs. And the next thing I saw was a dark car sort of speeding up behind the guy, and didn't even stop, just basically rammed through this guy. Didn't care. They didn't stop. They just, it was a hit and run. But the strange thing was, and clearly I needed to see this, was as it was sort of, the car was driving past me as if I was stood there. Instead of hit it, it came in fast and hit him, but as it was passing me, it was really slow, and I could see three, they looked like young teenagers, maybe 18, 19-year-olds, maybe even 17, but there was 3 young guys and 2 girls in the car. Don't know what caused them to be distracted, probably texting, maybe drunk, high. It really doesn't, I can't really speculate on that, but not one of them stopped. They didn't even care. They just ran straight through him. And it looked like the car, it reminded me of a Ford Mondeo, but I mean, stop signs like that, they tend to be in the States, so it resembled a Ford Mondeo. It obviously could be something else, but that's what the car looked like, and it was dark, like either a dark blue or black maybe, but really dark. Yeah, there was and one of the guys has blonde hair. I'm pretty sure there was, I mean, I just snapshot either the passenger who had blonde hair or the driver. I mean, I just got a snapshot of blonde hair. So yes, and then clairaudience kicked in, and then I heard look around. I don't know if the investigators have already done this, but you need to go back to neighbours, residences, private videos, CCTV, the cameras. Energy believes the car and the perpetrators of this was caught on camera. So they made it very clear that go back to residences, the residents' private CCTV footage. So maybe it was already checked, but maybe overlooked or just missed. Quite easily done. But yeah, they came through strong with that one. So yeah, I'm gonna leave that. That's pretty much all that really came through. So I hope that helps. Anything helps at this point, especially if it's becoming cold. But I think the man who was killed, he was, he had a helmet on, so it's hard to say, but it was definitely male. And what could have been caught, there was a hit and run on maybe a possible, normally during the day it would be quite busy, but at night, and I remember hearing like 11 p.m. ish, so it kind of happened around 11 p.m. so it would have been possibly quiet at that time of night, but normally during the day there's probably a lot of traffic. However, it was in the evening and it was at night, so around about 11 p.m. so I don't know if those little details help. So I do hope that helps anyway, obviously. But other than that, I'm going to archive this, obviously. The report is complete, so I mean there's not really much more I can offer apart from that. But you need to they had no idea what car or anything like that, so that's why I was shown who was responsible, and it was just a bunch of kids, yeah, unfortunately. And they didn't care, they just didn't even stop, they didn't even get out to help him or anything, they just ran over him and went straight through. Pieces of shit. But this is what we're dealing with today, unfortunately. This is the narcissistic youthful generation we've got, so this is how you raise them, this is the product of it. Other than that, I will speak to you all soon. everyone, I'm Dr. Karen Makowski, and I'm also the leading paranormal investigator in all my cases. I said it. Struggle with that for some reason. So today I am going to be discussing the case CCMP15. Let's see, everything was normal except this was done on the 16th of June, and the geomagnetic field was stormy. Humidity was good, it was pretty low. Everything else was normal. Let's see. Okay, so I have to be, again, at some point in the future I will be doing a full book. I'll be putting all the paranormal investigation reports into the book. I'll speak to a lawyer first and just make sure, because there's names etc inside the reports, all sorts of stuff that wouldn't really want the public knowing, especially if there's open active investigations. But if I'm going to get a lawyer involved at some point and just sort of see what I can keep in the book, because there is so much I see when it comes to cold cases, and this is when I'm working on cold cases. There's just so much I see that I feel like I can do these videos and I can have the reports and distribute them to the police departments. Nothing comes back. Nothing. I never find out. I never get told if anything has helped. See what I'm saying? Because of what I do. And it's not that I want the credit. It's just if there's nothing getting done, or I don't know. Maybe I feel like sometimes the public should just. It's hard to say, but like I say, I'll figure that one out at some point in the future. But again, I'll talk about certain things and things I'll keep back. But this was based on a cold case. Okay, so I got the 5th of June 2008. I believe was when this young woman went missing. Could have been reported missing. I heard Missouri. I heard the name Sheila Townsend. Well, there's a site. I don't want to say what it is, but there is a site. And I had the age 26. So basically, what I was seeing in the because everything is like, when it comes to cold cases, I work with the remote viewing method. So everything is like a visual anyway, and sometimes it's like I'm right there. They can't see me. It's just 3D. Fine. It's just one of those things. But anyway, regardless. I was seeing this young lady. She was long dark hair. She was sat at the bar. She was in a bar. She was sat alone, and then but she was drinking with two men, because two men came up and sort of like, you know, hey, can we join you? One of those. So they joined her. They look like they're in their mid-30s at least. She didn't appear to know them because they sort of had to introduce themselves. But they, like I say, they came and asked to join in, and they did. And then in the next visual I was seeing, I was outside of the bar. And it looked like I was in a small, was it like a small town, in a small main street. Now she voluntarily got into the back of a dark-coloured truck. I cannot tell if it was a Dodge or a Ford or a Chevy or anything like that, or a GM. I really don't know, because everything's fast. I've got to try, but I know it was a dark, coloured truck. And obviously a 4-door, because she got into the back. But it could be a short cab or a long cab, I really don't know. Regardless. But that's. And again, she got in voluntary, so it felt like she was probably just getting a lift home from them, maybe, or that's what she thought. But that's not what happened. There's a motive for why she was murdered, by both of them. The manner in which she was murdered and where she was left. Now I will admit, I also smelt smoke. Again, senses kick in, all senses. So it almost feels like they maybe tried to dispose of her, like on fire, by setting her remains on fire. But so I feel like with this one, if you were to find the site, you were to find her, if this even person's even been reported missing, I really don't know. It would seem like, I don't know who Sheila Townsend is. I don't know if that's energy on 5D. I don't know if that's the name of the woman, this young woman. I don't know. Or the name is resonates to this case though. So if there was an investigation to continue, or if there is an open investigation and you found the site, I don't feel like you'd be looking for I think you'd be looking for charred remains, unfortunately. I do have a description of the men, absolutely. So, and I don't want to say too much about them because, like I say, if it is an open active investigation, I don't want to mess it up. But I did get Missouri. Where in Missouri, I don't know. I just said Missouri. I'll take what I hear and I get. So that's what I sort of heard from that case, unfortunately. Oh, I'm stuck. But let's see what the summary. Yeah, so it just felt like it could be a possible cold case from 2008 when a young woman by that description went missing. Last seen at a bar in a small town main street bar. Like I say, she did get into the truck voluntarily, but she maybe just thought she was getting a ride home. Yeah. But where she was taken and left was off the beaten path. I will say that much. So there's not really much I can do with that one at present. I mean, I'll distribute it to Missouri, but I really don't know where in Missouri I could distribute that to. If there's a case like that sounds very familiar, you can have somebody from the police department or missing persons or cold case department reach out to me. Go to my website. All the information's in the contents, etc. And I can distribute the report to them. If you need more, or you need my time, you need me physically there, anywhere, to continue a paranormal investigation, you can contact me. I'll contact, obviously just submit, I'll contact you, get more information, and then we'll go from there. That's what I do. So I hope it helps. I hope any of these cases help. I mean, sometimes it's just that tiny bit of data that stalls a case. You can't always get access to DNA, etc. Maybe you've got persons of interest already, but you can't prove, there's not enough evidence. So sometimes you need this. My investigations, unfortunately, don't stand up in court. They're not designed for that. What they're designed for is to bring in more extra data that it's hard to get. It just helps the authorities use their resources then to look in a different direction, or confirm they was already on the right track. So, but there could be something else that you didn't know, especially when I'm remote viewing. I'm maybe at a crime scene, and if I'm seeing something that stands out, I'm going to record that data. I'm going to say what it is. If I'm getting names of culprits, I'm going to write them down. So that's all I can do. My paranormal investigations are not like normal investigations. They're not designed that way. But that doesn't mean I can't profile or do all of that good stuff, especially when I'm trying to like gather what could look or deem as possible evidence in a crime scene. So, and again, most people that believe in my field, I don't care. It's not about that. And that's why I guess we don't really get taken seriously, but it's not my problem. I'm not going to stop doing what I do. So other than that, I hope this helps somehow, and I guess, like I say, everything's in the contents box. If you do need a paranormal investigation, or you've got an active missing loved one, I do work on active missing person cases too. So not necessarily cold, but they could be going cold. I mean, active missing persons also. I can work on them. Energy's energy. So other than that, have a great day, and I will speak to you all soon. Hey, I'm Dr. Karen Makowski, and the leading paranormal investigator on any of my cases. Hope you're all well. So, as I was saying in the collective energy reading, I was just given a heads up to doing this video. It's been a while since I put a paranormal investigation video together, but it was this is like CCMP 18. It was, I believe this was I didn't like this one. It wasn't a very long visual either, so I wasn't, it wasn't a long and intense, but it was long enough for this female energy to come through and basically show me what happened to her. And oh my god. Well, anyway, so I did, like I said, I connected to a female energy. She was in her 50s, long dark hair, long straight hair, dark straight hair, but she had like lots of grey strands going through it, and she had blue eyes. And then I heard the name Jeanette. I saw what looked like this woman. It looked to me like this woman was being held against her will in a mental institution. She kept saying over and over again, and that the state was detaining her on the grounds of mental illness because of her beliefs. Oh, sorry, because of her religious beliefs. Well, that's highly illegal immediately, right there. But then right, and then what really got me was, so basically, I was seeing this woman being held against her will in a mental institution. I don't know when this was. But then all I could hear, she was saying, the state is detaining me because of my religious beliefs. Then I saw this, oh God, then I saw this woman being tortured, right? She was being tortured with electric shocks. She was being waterboarded. She was being tortured with the waterboarding method. Now, first of all, to me, there's more to this. There's more to this case. There's no way you're going to get tortured or detained to do with your religious beliefs on those grounds of religious beliefs. Absolutely not. There's no way. I get it. Terrorists, regardless. They'll pray to their gods, whatever, and they'll commit terrorist acts, etc. And I get the waterboarding. I get why they're tortured that way. She was just really showing me that they were like being tortured for the use of electric shocks and waterboarding method. Now, regardless again what religious beliefs, there's no way there's more to it. There has to be more to that. But they meant the fact that she was mentioning the state, and I won't trust any government, any country. I wouldn't trust anybody. You couldn't even pay me to trust the state or people in it. Some really bad people, but that's just the way it is. But again, there would have to be a very, very valid reason as to why, one, you've been taken against your will and detained by the state, and two, electric shock treatments and waterboarding, all this based off your religious beliefs. What are you believing in? What are your beliefs at that point? And again, regardless, it didn't even matter, because even if you chose, I don't believe in the devil or anything like that, and no. But again, universal laws and natural laws, you have a right to believe in what you want, whether people like it or not, right? So even if let's just for argument's sake, she believed in the devil. Well, many do. There's a lot of Satanists out there, but they don't get detained and waterboarded, tortured in those methods and against their will, unless they're doing something very, very wrong, evil. But I've never heard of that. But again, being detained because of your religious beliefs, even if you were a Satanist, you still can't go to jail for believing in Satan. You can't be sent to a mental institution because you believe in Satan at all. You can't. The only time you would be punished or if you hurt another human being. So it was a really strange case. It was really strange to sort of like visually see, and I'm like, what? But I don't know if there's is it possible that there is maybe a woman who was in her 50s held against her will for religious beliefs. I don't know. To me, it's like there's probably more to it. To me, she may have been a threat to the system. Many reasons for that. That would make more sense to me, but watching her being sort of tortured with electric shock methods and, like I say, waterboarding, like, the fuck? Again, that happens regardless whether people want to believe it or accept it or not. that's what happens to terrorists. No, I'm not going to get into that. But it didn't feel like she was... Hell, it's hard to say with this one, but I felt like there was more to it. I get that was possibly a last memory of what she was... Nobody should ever be detained anyway against their will. Ever. By anyone or any fucking state. Ever. And to be... No. And then to be tortured like that. Absolutely not. So... But it's sad that I felt like that was her sort of last memory. But I'm going to archive this. I have no idea where to send that to. I don't even know what to do with it. But it's archived. There wasn't much more that came through, just sort of visually being shown what she was sort of dealing with and seeing, and, you know, picking up this little, like, the state detained me because of my religious beliefs. I'm like, what? And then to be tortured and, like, electric shocks and waterboarded. I'm like, what? No, that's illegal. Highly fucking illegal. You can't arrest anybody based on their religious beliefs unless they hurt another human being. Same with cults, etc. I can go on about this all day long, but you can't. It's no way. No, unless you physically hurt another human being, you're doing nothing wrong regardless of who and what you believe in. That's it. You only break these man-made laws, etc. when you inflict your religious beliefs and you hurt another human being. There's consequences to your actions. So, but yeah, so that's what came through. This case CCMP18. Like I said, I will archive that and just delivering the message. And now it's like, well, you know, I've got everything you need. Now get your ass into that light where you belong. Everything's done. So there you go. That was. Like I say, I've done a few paranormal cases. I just haven't put a video together for a while, so it's so busy. But more will start coming up now, and now I'm sort of balancing time a little bit more too. But there you go. Interesting case. It was really, really shitty to see, but it's what I do. It's my job. I feel like I have to be, I guess, the little anchor for that side as a messenger. Just don't shoot the messenger. Other than that, I'll see you all soon. I'm Dr. Karen Makowski. I'm the leading paranormal investigator in any of my cases. Okay, so today I'm going to be discussing case CCMP21. Right, this was a very strange one. I don't want to go too far into too much of the details of it, but for me, a case like this, there's two possibilities. I mentioned the date because the date could be very important. I was experiencing this. I was connecting to energy on the 24th of August, exactly at 3:30 a.m. Right. So first of all, I was fast asleep. And this isn't usual for me. This is perfectly normal. It happens like this sometimes, and that's why I keep a pen and pad next to my bed always. But I've been doing this for years, so I'm okay with it. It's just weird for people to understand. Me, time is man-made. Okay, so I never think too much about. Oh my God, what? As far as I'm concerned, I was awoken at 3:30 in the morning, and I had to start writing. And I'm wide awake, so it's not like I'm dreaming. It's not like that. I know the difference between dreaming and being wide awake. So anyway, I'm wide awake, and I'm like, oh God, what time is it? Obviously, and I document everything, so I go straight to my clock. It's just like, wow, okay, here we go. I'm not going to question the time. Now, for me, there's another explanation. I could be dealing with a case in real time, at that moment in time on that day. So, that's one possibility in real time. Or, the energy's just connected to me, that let's wake her up. Let's show her what she needs to see. An investigation, and there you go. So, this is how it is for me. This is my life. I love it. I don't question it anymore. I stopped questioning that years ago. I know what I'm capable of. I know my human abilities are very advanced now. We've all got access to them. We just don't all know it. But I don't question it. I've had this ability since I was a child. I just didn't know how to do the investigation back then as a child. Now, but it's a calling. It's who I am, and it's what I do. So my first thought was, oh God, right, 3:30. Okay, so here we go. When I was connected to this female energy, it was like I couldn't see her. I was seeing everything from her perspective. Like it was like I was looking from her. And it's almost like I had to see everything from her point of view, as if I was her. That's why it was really strange to sort of see that. Usually when I'm remote viewing, I can see the victim, I can see the perpetrator and everything. I can see a lot more, but sometimes they do happen like this. So what I was sort of seeing was an intruder. I remember looking at this man. I got a really good description. I even got a name. I actually got the name, and then I heard the word stalking. So I'm like, okay, that's really relevant. So, and it almost felt like he knew who she was, but she had no idea who this man was at all. She never knew him, and that's why I thought, well, that makes sense to the stalking element of it. He was a lot older than her, and like I say, I do have a really good description of him. And then, but she was quite, she was pretty young, maybe 30s. But I hate to speculate because I couldn't see her. Just, clairsentience. Just trying to pick up on the feeling. Clairaudience was great. But everything I was seeing was like a video visual. Sorry. So the strange thing was, the moment I connected with this guy, I saw him. He startled me like he startled her. He was looking through the window of this house, of her house. I'm like, what the? And it scared her. And he kicked her front door in. Like, that's how he entered her home. Now, it was during this sort of struggle as he came into the house that she was able to escape, like, briefly. And now I'm like running down my neighborhood street. And I remember it looking around, it was dark. So I knew it could have been like the evening, but if it was in real time, that would make sense too. It's still really dark at 3:30 in the morning. But either way, it was dark outside. And I remember, like, for her, I feel like she was running on trying to call for help, and he was chasing her. And then all of a sudden I remember running, but I saw two people, like a younger woman and an older man walking a big husky dog. And I ran up to them, and I was just like to scream for help and everything like that. And they looked at him and me. This guy kind of came up and basically grabbed her. And he dragged her back to her house. I don't know what he threatened her with at that moment, that they were seen by two witnesses. To me, they were witnesses. So they definitely have a good description of him. But that's what it felt like. There's a husky dog. They were walking the dog. It was either at night or early hours in the morning. And they definitely saw this situation. So anyway, he takes her back to her home, and then he proceeds to sexually assault, beat, murder her basically in her home. And it was really graphic. It was really disgusting, really evil. But anyway, I don't want to think too much of the visual because it's really upsetting for me. Sometimes even having to, I never forget them. Any case I ever work on, it's horrible. I don't like to see it, but I have to see it, unfortunately, because I need the data. So while all this was happening, I saw a knife, like it was like a photographic picture of a knife, but I didn't see a knife attack. I didn't see, when I was seeing the attack, I didn't see the knife involved. However, forensically, the knife could be really important at an important point, but I'm not sure. But I didn't want to sort of dismiss it anyway. So it's strange. It just felt like it was going. It was so fast, like it happened in such. It happened so fast, but at the same time, it felt like it just was not ending. sometimes my heart is far too big to see what I see sometimes and deal with this, but I know I have to, because it's what I do. So yes, let me just summarize. So basically, I feel like the date, 24th of August 2021 at 3:30 a.m. is important. Maybe a young woman was found murdered in her home at that approximate time. So it was a brutal attack. The location, I did not get a location. I hate that. So I don't really know where to send this to. But I feel like the two people walking that dog probably saw the man chasing her. It could definitely be witnesses. I do have I have a description of the young lady. She was quite young, in fact, short hair. He was like in his mid-40s, but and like I said, they had a husky dog. So if this has happened just recently, and there is a couple who live down the street with a husky dog, it's not. I definitely feel like they were witnesses to give a better idea and a better description, and hair too. But if it was a cold case, yeah, there was something about his hairstyle too. I don't want to mention that though because it's in the description, but that's why I was thinking, is this a possible cold case? Because I never rule anything out, but at the same time it's in real time. That's okay. I still see this haircut now and again too. I still see men with this haircut, so it's not like it wouldn't be unusual. It's not trendy. But anyway, that was CCMP 21. It wasn't a very pleasant experience, and especially waking up at 3:30 in the morning. So there you go. But I have a job to do, and this is just my job. This is data. It's the data comparison. It cannot be used in a court of law because it's paranormal science and it's parapsychology. However, scientific reports are designed to gather as much data as I can get, and then you compare them with your own. Detectives, investigators, they may have already been on the right track, but usually I get to see a lot more. So if they don't, usually cases go cold or stall for a reason, because it's always that little piece of information that can reignite a case again or explain, well, okay, so we are on the right track, but now we've got to try and find the evidence. And without the evidence, it's hard to do that. But that doesn't mean you can't use the data, especially when I do sort of psychometry too, objects or at places. I can pick up a lot more. But yeah, so that's yeah. And I like working on active missing persons cases. I'm actually in the process of working on an active missing persons case right now. There is a young lady, I don't want to mention her name at this moment in time, but I'm going to connect to 5D and see if I can locate her, see what's going on. I'll put the report together, then I'm going to send it to the detectives. But I don't choose cases because they're in the media. I don't like that. Every single missing child, every single missing person should always be out there. I hate this concept of she's the typical American girl, so she's going to get more attention. That's vile media bullshit. I don't like that. When you're picking and choosing who should be magnified, that is wrong. That says a lot about media, and I don't like fucking media anyway. So, but it's strange because I was monitoring the case, and there's a lot more coming out in the and I don't believe everything the media tells me anyway. But while I was listening and reading, I felt like I was getting a connection, like, okay, I'm not sure who I was connecting to, but it was enough to make me go into, do what I do an investigation on it. So I will put the report together. I will work on that actually missing persons. I felt like there was a lot more going on. I really did. from her perspective too, from the young woman to the fiance, the boyfriend, whatever, I felt like there was a lot more going on. That's what, if somebody's not talking, there's a reason for that. So again, it's not about people's lifestyles or anything like that. It's not about that. I keep my bias out of it. It's nothing to do with me. But remember, there is always a story. There's always a reason what leads up to things like this happening. I've said this before. There's always a story behind the story. There's always a leading up to it. So if one person's not discussing that story that led up to the situation of this young woman going missing, then my job, I guess, is to try and connect with energy to find out more information. And time's a factor right now, obviously, as we know. You know, after 48 hours, it never looks good. That's the statistics, and that's the reality. However, you don't lose hope, ever. You just don't know, because we don't know completely for sure. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be working on that case today. Hopefully I get some data, but you know, I will talk about it, and obviously I'm not going to go into the same details, obviously, because it's going to go to the detectives. Hopefully we'll get a visual, like a location visual. That'd be amazing, because like I say, I want to do the remote viewing and everything. So, and I do that. That's no different to any cold case or active missing persons I do. I don't decide who gets better treatment than anybody else. I use the same method for all my investigations. Don't care who you are, how poor, how rich. I don't give a shit. I don't care about that shit like most people do. I give everybody the same balance and investigation, etc., that I do my way. Same equality of it all. I don't care what colour your skin is. I don't care what your sex is. I don't care about that crap. This is what I do. But again, like I say, I felt like something was tweaking, asking me, probably 5D was like, you know, maybe just take a look at this one. So that's what I'm going to do. Other than that, that again, it's kind of, I don't like to see this sort of stuff, but it's my job, it's my calling, it's who I am, it's what I do, and I love it, because I feel like I'm doing something that can help people. So be kind, it's free. Evil's a choice, not a condition. It's as simple as that. And I will speak to you all very soon. Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Karen Makowski, and I'm also the leading paranormal and parapsychological investigator on any of my cases. Now, if you want to learn a little bit more about me, what I do and why I do it, you can go to my website. There are links directly to my website from here. If you do need to book, I do have two types of services when it comes to the parapsychology or paranormal investigations. You can book me physically, but you do need to make an appointment if you need to come and see me. I'm here in Arizona. I am appointment based only, but I can actually go out to you guys and gals too. Or you can use the remote service, which is the online service. It's just as effective. Energy is energy. I'll connect to energy, and I use the remote viewing method. And